Hi, I'm T-Bad, and this is my 1988 F-150. I'm in the middle of restoring it right now. I got the cab in the garage, patching all the cab corners, rockers, all kinds of stuff. Come on in, I'll show you. This is the cab to my 1988 F-150. I've been stripping it all the way down. I've replaced the cab support pocket on that side, the outer floor on both sides, the rocker panels on both sides, cab corners on both sides, and about 2 inches all the way across the back wall. Come in here, I'll show them to you. Let's start inside here. So we started with replacing these outer floor pans. These were a pre-bent panel that I ordered online. The little area up in here where it was extra, that's a piece I've cut from another truck to weld in there. So we have further to clean inside the door pocket here, and we have the bottom of that to do just a little bit more repairing, but I'm going to leave an access hole to be able to put oil in there and prevent rust. So my rocker panel here is the one with the pillars on both sides, and it slips on. So I cut away the majority of the old one, just kept a little bit there for alignment reasons. And these, they line up on their seams here very good. The cab corner is the cab corner that belongs with this to match all properly. They're all the same company makes all of them. I'm going to do a nice little trim down that guy there, make him have more of a factory look to him. Inside here we've replaced the bottom of the cab brace there. That part is an extra that I've made to give some added support to the back wall there. The fitment of this cab corner, it's not perfect, but I'm plenty happy with that. On the bottom side here, I rebuilt all of the floor structure and all the different layers that were required to put the strength back into the cab. I had to replace this lower 2-inch section all the way across the back wall. It was rotted out due to the factory seam sealer drying and cracking, and it peeled the paint away from the steel and caused it to rust really bad. On this side, the bottom structure is also all rebuilt. It didn't end up perfect in here. It's pretty tricky to get all these bends. The driver's cab corner went quite well, other than maybe welding over here where I had a little bit of a hole to fill. But the alignment is, I think, a little better than the other side. I can show you that quickly. And then the patches on the inside here. Not the prettiest, but it's definitely gonna add a lot of strength back in there. Same floor patch, pre-bent, and I made that portion there and that little bit there to complete what I needed. This one has a floor pocket, the cab support. It's been all had new steel welded in it everywhere. And that's the inside of there, inside of the A pillar. I have a little bit more patching to do right here on the firewall, and then clean all the seam sealer off there. but the majority of that seam is pretty good still. Here's the outside of the A pillar. The welds here still need to be ground down and make a small patch panel across there. I'm also gonna grind that down and do a better weld, since I've gotten a better welder to complete this job. I have a lot of seam sealer still to remove. You can see areas like this, or there, and down in there. There are areas where the seam sealer peeled the paint away from the body. I think I have to remove this all just by scratching and chipping. I may try like my oscillating tool, but if you got any good ways of getting the seam sealer out of all these little crevices, and I don't like the idea of lighting it on fire because that damages the paint on the other side and in between, and lighting it on fire is just not a good idea. Here's the underside of the truck cab here. And it luckily wasn't rusted too bad. And those rails, I think a lot of this is made out of a galvanized steel, so the metal really resists the corrosion really hard. These 1988 F-150s were made with a lot of galvanized steel, which you can see the galvanizing in this area there. So they are very resistant to the rust, but just the way that the seam sealer cracked and it pulled it all away like that, that's what created the issue for this truck. So that's a little introduction to my 1988 F-150 here. I got a lot to go on this project, but we're going to get working on it to get her done so we can paint in the springtime when the weather gets nice. Got all this stuff to clean off here. It's an old oil coating to get off. We got all the rest of the seam sealer to pick away. We got a little bit more patches to make right here. 2 sides. Got to get those patched up, get all the rest of the rust cleaned out of there, and get to doing some body work. So I'm going to get working on this project this weekend. And I'll make videos all along the way to get this truck from where it is now all the way to restored, just like my 96 F250 out there. We got about 3 months until the weather's good enough to be able to do any painting. So that gives me plenty of time to prepare all this and prepare all my different parts. And I'm going to do them all individually and paint this separately, because I've learned from my other paint jobs, I'm a pretty novice painter, and you go like this around your truck 4 times or 5 times and it just doesn't finish that nicely at the end of the 5th one. So I'm going to paint my stuff in smaller batches this time so that I can get some better results.